nice cup of coffees. We have 6 companies awaiting us for the last and final afternoon segment. And the first presenter who's getting ready for us, is from Omo Tech. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him with a big round of applause.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kay, co-founder and COO of Omo Technologies, where we have built the world's first permanent magnet-based precision tracking system. And it's quite simple. We have a magnetic field generator with a permanent magnet inside that generates tracking range up to 75 centimeters in all directions. And within that tracking range, we can track these tiny sensors that are as small as 0.8 millimeter with the precision as low as 0.2 millimeters. To help you see what it does, here's a short video. The white object on the table is our magnetic field generator, and we've attached our sensors to the back of the gloves to help track the fingers and the hands. It's precise enough to tell each fingers apart, even when they're on top of each other. And you can track all around the magnetic field generator, even under the table where you don't have any line of sight, even when the lights are turned off. Usually, magnetic fields are very susceptible to metallic interferences, but one of the major benefits of using a permanent magnet is that we have a natural resistance against it. And even when you go outside the tracking range, all you got to do is come back, and we have absolute positioning that allows instantaneous recovery, a unique benefit that you won't find in any other systems. So what are we doing with it? Our primary market is surgical navigation, where we help track these sensor-embedded tools inside the human body during an operation. If you look at the current market standard and the Aurora, you can see all these large hardware with the wires and a complicated setup, and it costs an arm and a leg. If you take just one of their hardware and put our entire system against it, you can see just how small ours is. Simply put, we're cheaper, simpler, and better, which is why we were able to find ourselves a world-class strategic partner in this market. Our market leader with over 30 years of experience and a global presence, they are our co-developer, investor, and an end user. And that is just one of the markets where our technology can be the game changer. All combined, these markets represent over $1 trillion worth of a total addressable market. A case in point is training and simulation, more specifically for NASA's astronaut training, where they are also stuck with these outdated tracking systems. And that's why we were chosen as the top 10 finalists for NASA's iTech contest recently. So how did they turn this into a commercial success in Korea? Let's first look at where we were before we came here. We had raised $2.6 million, 0.2 millimeter precision, 3 patents granted, with the latest one taking less than 6 months, when a typical patent takes over 2 years. Just goes to show how unique our approach is. And this is what we achieved during KSGC. $3 million funding round, a local corporations, over 50 meetings and IR sessions. You must be all curious about the funding, so let's break it down. $1.5 million has been committed and signed by these 3 Korean investors, and the remaining amount is currently being divided up between these 2 other Korean investors, as well as our existing investors, including our strategic partner. The whole process will finalize before the end of this month. And that funding will go into pursuing the same goals that we have since the beginning. First, we want to get our product to market, not simply to raise our sales, but because we believe Korea is the best testing bed for high-tech product hours to enter the greater Asia market. And second, we want to hire core team members, those who study natural science and can translate that into digital output, the type of talent that Korea excels in. And lastly, finding new strategic partners, as we have in surgical navigations, perhaps the most challenging of our goals. But thanks to our time spent in Korea, we already identified the markets that we're going after: the industrial robotics and dental implants navigations. Not only is our technology relevant in these markets, but the Korean companies are world-renowned. Thanks to the introductions made by Big Bang Angels and our Korean investors, the conversations are already happening. So here is our Korea roadmap. The company outreach and recruitings are ongoing. We're currently incorporating manufacturing process improvements and have launched our paid pilot program. If we're invited back for the second acceleration, we will look to acquire official purchase orders and begin mass production. And all these efforts will hopefully lead us to finding a new strategic partner in Korea next year. So with that, On behalf of the entire OMO team, thanks for your time, and I will take questions now.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So the room is now open for questions. Please go ahead if you have any questions for OMO Tech.
Perhaps, well, who was that major partner that you mentioned?
Obviously, I can't reveal that. Sorry,
I
but
understood. I would ask.
right. But I would guess that if you did some research, I can't recommend. But if you did some research, it'll become pretty obvious to you. Yeah, but I can't reveal it myself.
Have you thought of working with J&J Ethicon?
I am not familiar with that name, and that is not our partner.
Well, Johnson & Johnson, a huge company, healthcare company. Ethicon is their surgical sort of instrumentation division.
As far as I'm aware, they're not actually one of the key players in our markets. Yeah.
Okay, so it seems that you have a great partner that you can't reveal the name here yet, but if you just type in your name in Google or something will pop up, right?
Well, more specifically, I would say some research into surgical navigations market.
Okay.
There are some major players, and our partner is one of them. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, then let's take more questions and maybe listen to some feedback.
What level of precision? I think I saw a slide and then you had an example of the dental case. What level of precision can you achieve?
In dental navigations market?
I
Well,
think your slide said one thing, but it seemed a broader tolerance than one might expect in dental, but maybe I missed it.
right. Our system works across the different stacks. So even if our product is essentially the same no matter the market that we're using it for. So the best precision we've achieved is 0.2 millimeters, and we guarantee some millimeter precision at up to 75 centimeter radius away from our magnetic field generators. But if you don't require that kind of precision, obviously the tracking range will go much further.
Interesting. So the range can change depending on settings or environment or sophistication. Interesting. Any questions or feedback? We have about 2.5 minutes left.
What is your plan in Korea? I'm sorry.
Sorry?
So what is your plan in Korea? So are you working on the developing your technology, or are you try to kind of find out some kind of the people who can sell your products in Korea?
So yeah, there were 3 purposes of coming to Korea that I laid out. First was to get our product introduced in the market because we believe Korea is the best testing beds as an entry market for the greater Asia market. And the second point, we want to run essentially an R&D center in Korea because we believe Korea has an abundance of the type of talents that we need. Those who studied very analog natural science but can translate that into digital outputs. And lastly, we want to find the strategic partners because, we obviously think there are many markets that are promising that can use our technology.
So what specific market? So you mentioned that like the industrial level,
Right.
and then the dental the navigation system.
Yes.
So they are so different. So what's your main targets in Korea?
Well, I wouldn't say main targets because the conversations are happening in both ways. But I would say the conversations have progressed further in the dental navigations market. So our Korean investors have introduced us to a company called the Dentium. They're the number 2 dental implants company in Korea, right after Ostem. So I have second meetings with them next week, and they're very interested in using it for not simply to replace their dental guides, which is what they use to make their dental implants, but also use it as a broader medical technology in the markets that they are playing in.
Good.
Interesting journey. We have about 40 seconds. Any questions?
So in your surgical application, it looked like it was with open surgery. Can you do this with laparoscopic and other minimally invasive techniques?
Nope, not open surgeries. We're not even for laparoscopic surgeries. So,
So what is the application? It wasn't clear.
so there are top 3 applications, I would say: the neurosurgery, the orthopedic surgery, and then ENT surgeries. These are the surgeries where you essentially can't open up the person. You can essentially have a small hole where just enough to put tiny sensors in, and those are the markets that we specialize in.
And that's not applicable to laparoscopic or anything of that sort?
Well, you can open it up and see it yourself. It's not really, you don't really need our technology.
Oh yeah. So he said that was the 3 major applications when it comes to types of surgery where you can only rely on tiny holes and their sensors are going to guide doctors to carry out precise surgeries. Okay, thank you very much for your clarification and also excellent presentation. Thank you very much. And we're going to now usher in the next company called Outside Technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big hand.
All right. Okay. So, do I just, okay. Okay, hi everyone, my name is Nicholas, and I'm the CEO of Outside Tech. So as we all know, the world has progressed a lot in the past decade, and the sharing economy has advanced a lot. You can now go into a stranger's car to get from point A to B, and you can also stay in a stranger's house when you're overseas. But why can't we use this technology to do something simpler, to connect people to help each other when they're nearby? So that's what we're doing. We created a simple and seamless platform that's more cost-efficient, collaborative, and totally powered by the community. So the best way to imagine it, Pokemon Go for errands. So you get to see pins on the map, interact with it, see the information, get it done, and you'll get paid. It's that simple. So in order to connect strangers to help each other, our company focuses on 4 main pillars. So the first one is to build a verified community through strict regulations and checks. The second one is a proximity ping, which means that we use geospatial technology to alert people when they're nearby. And using this same technology, we also track users when the tasks are ongoing. So this will allow the hirers to be more reassured that the job is getting done. Next part, of course, is ensuring that payments are there through escrow payments and KYC using Stripe. This will help us to scale easily overseas too. And lastly, like all technological products, we want to create a seamless experience for our users. So this means that users can post tasks, do tasks, chat, attach files, attach images, call, and make payments, all within the same app. There's no longer a need to leave the platform to communicate anymore. So while we're solving this, we realized that we're solving a second problem. Hiring temp staff and temporary help is very inefficient. It's very expensive and time-consuming for sourcing, interviewing, matching shifts, payments, and lastly, paperwork. So what we did is that we created shift-based jobs and micro-jobs with our partners, and we share it over to our community to use them as an alternative workforce to get things done. This model has actually been proven in the US and Mexico, with Zubele and Work Now Locally proving a 70% saving for the businesses that use them instead. Yeah, it's pretty simple to use us. It's just a web platform. Type in the information that we ask from you, and we'll alert people who stay around the job. That way, you just select an offer, communicate, and just release the payments when the task is done. Okay. So in Korea, I think people tend to mistake us for service marketplaces like Sumgo and Kmong, where they usually sell skills-based services. Outside is more of a task auctioning model, whereby you post something you need to get done, and users offer to get it done, more similar to that of TaskRabbit in the United States. And another one that they compare us to is Albamon and Alba Heaven in Korea, which are job listing sites. So the main difference there is that we actually do shift-based jobs, and we are much more cost-effective because you only pay when the job is done. So using this model, we actually take a 20% cut for each completed job. And using the minimum wage as a judge at $8.5, yeah, we are looking at $43 per ticket and a forecasted revenue of $10.3 million by the end of next year. All right, so this is our traction in Singapore. We have 15,000 taskers in Singapore and 2,000 jobs done. We also facilitated roughly $50,000 worth of jobs, with more than 50% coming from the last 5 months through the 15 pilots that we completed. So of course, Korea is a very different market. And through the last 2-3 months here, I was able to meet with various experts and industry veterans, understanding more about the labor law and how they usually hire like part-timers and temp staff in Korea. So with that, we actually signed 10 MOUs, 7 of them turning into our clients, 5 of them with API integrations, which forecast a total amount of 10,000 per month during our pilot. Yeah. So moving forward, of course, for Q1, we are looking at launching our pilot with other partners. And in Q2, using the information that we learned from the pilots, we intend to launch our official platform and get more clients on board. So in Q3, we'll be launching our final product, which is Insight API. And this will actually allow users to easily implement our features and functions within their own platforms. And that will be ideally how we plan to scale over in Korea. Okay, so my team and myself, we've been working together for the past 10 years across 7 ideas. So we also graduated from several different programs and have different niches. So we are mainly a product team, and we are very lucky to get other members on board along the way. So we believe that we are also the right ones to start working on the future of work, as we started as students, and our main target is the untapped labor market, mainly comprising of students, housewives, and elderlies. All right. If you're interested to find out more about us, you can always use any of these links here, or you can contact me directly with my contact info. Lastly, you can help me with my KPI by scanning and downloading our app. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your timely ending of the presentation. It was very clear. I was able to understand basically everything you said. And let's open up some room for questions. Anyone who would like to go first?
Yes, I have a question. So you're talking about using some, like sending out some tasks and have some small, like some part-time labor. It sounds like you said, shift work, a couple of hours or a few hours or half a day or whatever with the work. How are you going to deal with the taxation of that portion for the employees that will be doing that?
So currently, we are actually operating this mainly in Singapore. So in Singapore, we're actually just treating it like a freelancer doing a gig. So there isn't actually additional taxes over in Singapore. In Korea, our understanding is that freelancers have to pay an additional 3.3% tax, which we'll just add into the total cost when we charge our clients. We have also taken into consideration the 4 different insurances once people actually work above 80 hours. And yeah, the general idea is that we're still trying to figure out if we could turn it into something less than 80 hours and to cut out at least 2 of the insurances so that we can lower costs.
That sounds correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Interesting. Yes. I do know for sure that there's 3.3 tax for freelancers because I'm one of them. Anyways, so more questions, please.
So as I understand, so you are going to the two-sided market. So you have to tackle the two markets. So like the business owners and then job seekers, right?
Yeah.
Then how do you kind of tackle these kind of the two-sided problems in Korea? So you may need to contact the people who participate in your platform or the website, something like that.
Yeah.
So do you have any strategy or ideas on that?
I think our main differentiator, because this idea has been around for quite a while, the main thing that I think will be different, you guys can you also see the screen? If not, it's fine, don't worry. So actually from our MOUs, there are actually API integrations. So when a job is posted on us, it will be shared onto other people's platforms too. So you can imagine if Facebook had a job area, and the area actually uses our API to populate the jobs that are available. Yeah, that's what we're doing for some of the partners that we are signing in Korea, including a student-based platform like Pretzel. So they actually have a whole bunch of students that will be using the app, and they'll be able to easily pick up the jobs. So our main focus for BD here would be towards getting jobs and working with businesses to create micro jobs first. Whereas like getting the supply is a smaller issue for us because we already have a few partners like GoGoX that will handle delivery for us.
Interesting. So you just share some of the partnership models with using social media. What about other questions? We have about 2 minutes left.
But how to control the partnership? So they have kind of the critical resources like the people and the job information, something like that. But you don't actually don't have that kind of information, critical kind of information. So how can you control the kind of the partnership?
Okay, sorry. Control as in the quality of the work done, or?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, I think for our side, we mainly focused on everyday jobs. So we're starting with unskilled labor first. So I'm sorry that I can't share the screen, but we actually have a part of looking at upskilling across the next 2 years. But in order to hit the mass market and to make it easy for everyone, we are targeting jobs that are unskilled, like flyering, waitering, completing surveys, things that doesn't require verification of skills. But we'll look at that across the next 2 years as our population grow. But currently, that's an area whereby users can add a skill and upload their own portfolio within their accounts. So that's one way that we are doing it. But usually with partnering platforms, they have their own track records. Example like Google X deliveries, like they would have their own track records of what they have done beforehand. So we believe that we'll work with our partners on the rating instead.
Interesting. So you start with basic tasks, but you can upcharge later by adding more skillful labor options. Great. So I think we have about room for one more question. Okay. Yes, some of the judges looked like they were going to ask a question, but I guess they're fine. So could you use the last 20 seconds to pitch?
Yeah, I guess the main thing that we're doing now is that we're actually launching a government project to connect people to do voluntary tasks, and that will be coming live in 3 weeks' time. So I think that's probably the biggest step for our company as we officially get associated to the Singapore government. And that's something that I would love to try out in Korea if we have the opportunity to. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Excellent presentation. I wish you best of luck in the future. Now we are going to usher in the third company of this segment called Param Network India. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome them with a big round of applause.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Vaidi, founder and CEO of Param. So we streamline B2B commerce. If you think managing your paper receipts is complex, imagine businesses manage 50,000 to 200,000 invoices per month. They collaborate with thousands of vendors and producing millions of documents per month, like contracts, purchase orders, invoices, shipping and payment tracking documents, right? Most of these documents are shared today through email or through post in a PDF format. This causes a tremendous manual effort for finance and accounting process. As per the EY study, 90% of the invoices processed today are manual, and it costs about $11 to $15 per invoice. At Param, we streamline this B2B commerce collaboration. We aim to bring Kakoya Talk-like experience for enterprise to exchange documents in real time. Our platform is built on blockchain technology. So we seamlessly collaborate suppliers, logistics with enterprise through a Zoom-like software. People can download their softwares, integrate into ERP, and exchange documents in real time. To give a glimpse of our product, so this is a free wallet which we distribute to SMEs so that people can actually, we reduce the friction in coming onto our platform, and enterprises can integrate into the ERPs and share any documents in real time. So the documents are shared in a much familiar format, but underneath, we share the information in in electronic format, which actually we adapt Google's knowledge graph as a standard for sharing the information. Not only that, people can easily collaborate with any third party as simple as from a mobile app and start supporting any documents which needs for invoice validations and purchase validations can be shared through a very unique multi-enterprise workflow feature. Because the documents are shared in an electronic format, so we instantly create a dashboard. Because we use a DLT technology, both the enterprises gets in same information on both the sides, so their purchases, invoices, payments gets reconciled at the real time. So what are the competitive advantage compared to other blockchain products? So we are a commerce-aware platform. So we ready-made a plug and play into any ERP systems. We understand enterprise data privacy requirement. We are a peer-to-peer platform. We offer end-to-end encryption. As a Param, we are a data blind company. We just offer a network fabric for them. As we use Google Knowledge Graph as our standard, we actually offer a very advanced analytics. So what's the value prop for the enterprise? The finance team sees a reduction in their invoice processing from 15 days to 3 days. The operations team sees a real-time visibility by which they actually can do a better forecasting of their inventories and sales, and they can, as an enterprise, can do a better cash management and do an improved cash flow efficiency. So we have been validating with global players. We have more than 10,000 invoices per month traffic completed. Our basic business model is subscription-based, $1 per invoice, And if you look at the global opportunity, it's about 533 billion invoice exchange per annum. And F&A market survey says, the market is doubling from 200 billion to 400 billion dollar, right? Specifically looking at Korea market, Gartner says the enterprise are going to spend 1.5 billion in ERP-related products. So coming to the traction during KSGC program, so we have secured an 1 million plus investor interest here from investors like Hash. And we have identified 2 go-to-market partners, and we have extended our corporate partnership with Gartner, Microsoft, and Oracle for the Korea region. We have been having a productive meetings over here. So we've been recognized very well by Government of Canada, India, and in Korea through these programs. And we are a team of second-time entrepreneurs and a great, strong engineers. So I have Pradeep along with me, who's also second-time entrepreneur. This is my 3rd startup. I've been an entrepreneur for last 12 years. And we have an international advisors with blockchain and enterprise go-to-market capabilities. And with this, I leave a last thought. We are building a new secure internet for enterprise collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your concise presentation. Let's open up the floor for questions. So anyone who would like to ask the first question, please go ahead.
Did I hear correctly, you say you do not have any visibility into customer data or content? And if so, could you elaborate a bit more on how that you maintain the data privacy?
Yes, so we are a blockchain-based platform. So we actually install the nodes onto the enterprise on-prem. So basically all the data resides on the enterprise, and we do an end-to-end encryption through our network to last mile enterprise or an SME who is coming through our wallet. Yes, we are a data blind company.
Yeah, just to add on it, we have an IP on that, which is one of a unique proposition where we call in blockchain, there is a private node and a public node. So we are actually an end-to-end protected mode where it's completely a secure data flow from one enterprise to the other enterprise.
I have a question. So in the Korean market has some special challenges when it comes to software coming from outside. Google is a perfect example. It has had challenges. In fact, if I want to navigate, I'll never really use Google Maps. I'll use Naver and KakaoTalk, and that's not because Google is terrible software. They're just very peculiar challenges around privacy, data, cultural aspects, and maybe some tacit barriers, whatever. What is your view on that?
Yes, I think that was our core understanding in the first few weeks when we landed here. So there are a few approaches we are planning to take. We are going to go into market only through partnerships over here, through local SI partners. We don't want to do direct sales. That's number one. So we will completely localize this. Second thing, we are going to enter into more medium-sized enterprises, more than going to a large or a very large. That actually helps us drive adoption. Especially, there's a lot of openness in Korea for adapting blockchain-based solutions. We hope that will actually help us over here.
Yes, interesting. So you already have some strategies to go around those regulatory environment placed by the Korean government. Brilliant. Any questions?
Well, I also wanted to emphasize to the moderator, it's not just the government regulatory barriers, there are other barriers as well, some not so evident, but he addressed that question.
Thank you for your comment. And I think another judge was about to ask a question, so let me give the floor to you.
Yes, I just have one quick question. Have you identified any particular strong competitor in Korea that you're concerned about?
So yes, we looked at major projects, and most of them are very strongly crypto associated. So we are one of the projects which is not associated with crypto. Therefore, we did not find much of a competitors who are non-crypto focused on we are actually in hybrid blockchain. We are not a private blockchain. We are not a public blockchain. So we are a hybrid blockchain. In this space, we did not find too much of an overlap.
Thank you.
So just to add, we are more like a permissioned network, permission public network, to ensure that the enterprise, even the medium segment to the large segment enterprises, can actually come onto our platform and ensure there is a secure sharing with small and medium enterprise. Even a very small driver or a logistic service provider who doesn't have a big infrastructure capabilities can come onto our platform very easily just with a mobile application and securely transfer data and documents to a large enterprise using the network. So we are eliminating the need of consortium over the blockchain here.
Interesting approach. And I think we have about 35 seconds, maybe room for one more question. If not, then I'll also give you an opportunity to pitch for the last 20 seconds.
I think it's Korea is actually a blockchain hub, so we hope our product gets well adapted and get good partners and good investors' interest over here. That's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. I wish and I hope the best for you in the growing future in Korea and elsewhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. So that was the third company of the segment, and we're going to usher in a next company called Port. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big hand.
Hello everyone, my name is Philip and our company is Port. With Port, we enable you to walk the world from home through live video calls with remote guides around the world. Do you need to attend events abroad but you have no time to go? Or perhaps there are places around the world you want to experience but you cannot justify taking a week off to go there. And I'm sure there are many places around the world right now you want to see with your own eyes but you cannot travel there. With Port, you can book a 60-minute live video call with a remote guide at the destination. The guy will be walking around, shows you around, answers your questions, and will help you interact with the environment that you're in. We're calling this remote travel. Customers can book on our website or on our mobile app a guide, and the guide will be running the tours on our Port video call platform, which is optimized for real-time engagement, mobility, and travel productivity. That means that customers can remotely control the guide's camera to take photos they will store in their Port photo album. They can bookmark locations if there's interesting and they want to share it. They can even make annotations on the video feed to improve the visual communication, or they can also control the guide's camera if they need more flexibility. Guides will be running the tours on our mobile app, and customers can join on the computer or on the phone. We were founded in May this year, and we have served 1,000 remote travelers to date. In the most recent remote tours in Korea, 82% wanted to do another tour. Our vision is to create a global network of remote guides around the world that you can tap into to fulfill your international travel needs from home. 2019 had 1.5 billion international tourist arrivals. And in June 2020, that number basically went to zero. And with Port, we want to tap into this big, unserved travel desire. On the B2B side, we're going to target two gigantic markets. One is destination marketing, and the other one is the MICE industry. We're going to serve business travelers around site visits, exhibitions, and venues. In Korea, professionals around the world can book a Port guide to help them remotely visit exhibitions in Seoul. They can tell the guide how to walk, who to talk to, and the guide can help them communicate and connect with potential partners. Something that would take a team out of Europe 4 days on the road to do, coming here, now they can do with just 4 hours at home. Other industries use Port to do their remote site visits. We're currently piloting with a construction company in Indonesia who has 140 construction sites around the world that need monthly inspections. With Port, more managers can do inspections in less time and with basically no travel cost. When we talk about this new category of online experiences and remote travel, majority of the players focus on educational, entertainment, webinar type of content. But that's not what we do. With Port, we help you visit places remotely. And through our strategic partnership with HIS, one of the largest travel agencies in Japan, we can quickly roll out to 50 destinations around the world. On the B2C side, we take a commission fee on the ticket sales. And on the B2B side, we are a remote tour provider with sales values up in the thousands of dollars. We're currently in pre-seed stage and bootstrapped, but by the end of this year, we will have grown on average 122% our revenue month over month. And next year, we're trying to do $500,000 in sales. Let's talk about Korea. In the past 2 months, our mission has been to bring Korea to the world. We were able to complete 12 remote tours with 2 clients in destination marketing and already received 2.8 million won in sales. Looking forward in Korea, our most immediate step is to fulfill the confirmed bookings that we already have, giving us another 10.7 million won and start building a local team. Next year will be about expanding and try to hit 200 million won by adding more Korean destinations, more venues in Korea, and also increasing the inbound markets that can remotely travel to Korea. Eventually, our mission will be to help push the global Korean wave and be the #1 platform, remote travel platform to explore Korea. The founding team has combined decades of experience working on large-scale consumer platforms, but more than anything, we just wanted to solve a very basic problem for ourselves when suddenly we could not fly around the world anymore. We are Port, and we enable you to roam the world from home. Thank you.
Wow, what a great timing to launch this product. I've been having this fever to go out abroad, and you have this one. And can I also sign up as a tour
Absolutely.
guide for Korea? Anyways, great presentation. And let me open the room for questions. Any questions or feedback?
Oh, yeah, I have a question. When you first started talking about this, I thought kind of like Twitch, you know, how people are using that to go out and, you know, walk around, do things, show people things, but you've added that connection with the viewer on the other side, not only just texting in or whatever, but the interaction. But I don't understand, I guess, how you said that the user on this side can control that guide, the port, I guess what you call it, right? It's camera. How does that work?
Yeah, so I mean, 2 things. There's a technical thing that you're talking about. So our guides will be using a certain gimbal that is integrated in our solution, and they can turn the cameras up, down, left, right. That's one type of control and more flexibility. And the other one is just the more custom service that I showed in the exhibition visiting, where it's very much driven from the guest. So the guest buys that session from the guide, and they can say, hey, I need you to go over there. I need you to help me look for this type of vendors. And of course, when there's kind of a language barrier, then the guide can also help with very basic type of translation as well.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's more like a two-sided approach. Brilliant. Yes, please.
So I was very fascinated how when you opened up, it sounded this B2C, tourism enabling, etc. And my first impression was quite niche and interesting, but probably not going to be that huge a business, even with the whole COVID thing. Then you went into the B2B side, and I thought that was very fascinating. So my question is, of those 2, which do you think will end up being the bigger business? And also, do you view them synergistically, even though they're so opposite or so different? In other words, the B2C is almost like a loss leader in some ways, perhaps. I'm just guessing, but what's your view on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at travel in general, actually the business and the leisure travel are kind of like equally sized. Our early traction is more on the business part right now. So we're trying to build that out a bit more. About the synergy part, actually one thing we do with destination marketing is very much in line with them. So they want to promote it to, you know, they want to use it to keep engaging with their customers. So in that sense, what we've seen is now, you know, the KTO is one of our clients. They buy it to, one, keep engaging with people abroad, right? Keep Korea kind of top of mind. But the other thing they also do is they replace what they call their fam trips. And the fam trips, if something they do is, these are trips that with tour operators and travel agents. So usually they bring them over and explain what Korea is all about so they can sell it back to their customers. And now they do that remotely as well. And then the third thing we've seen now, and this is actually just recently this week, is now they are the tour operators and the travel agents that the KTO was selling it to, now they are going to use it to sell to their customers as well. So, you know, our strategy right now is for like, you know, a smaller startup, I think B2B first is a bit easier to go. But through our KTO B2B, we we actually kind of like triple it down to reach end consumer that way.
Very interesting. We have about 1 minute and 40 seconds. Any more questions or feedback?
Yes, I have another question. Could I just ask one example on the B2C example? A couple of years ago, I had a business trip to Delhi in India, and I didn't schedule enough time to go see the Taj Mahal. I wish I had. Now, what if I wanted to see that? What if I said, what if I use your service and I want to go have a couple of hours, I guess, to see it?
Sure.
So what would that cost me? Or just approximately, what would that cost me to do that?
Yeah, it depends. So right now, we only have a guide in Mumbai, so he wouldn't go to, I think it's around Delhi. But there are basically two ways. One is if we already offered that tour, and Taj Mahal is obviously a landmark, so we will, but we currently don't have, then that ticket will cost you on average $20 to $25, okay? But you can also book a custom requirement. So if we have someone in the neighborhood and you say, hey, you want to book a private session just for you, your friends, your family, maybe not even around the world to go there, then that would cost you around like $80.
Good price.
Per hour.
Sign me up. All right.
All right.
Still a good price. Thanks.
Sign me up. Wow, I think that says it all. Oh, we have 30 seconds. Maybe one more question?
So I've heard this with similar things with real estate, where they have some sort of virtual home viewing. Are these potential competitors? Would that be a market? So I've heard something like this before.
Yeah, so those are tools that real estate agents use. I guess in a sense they could use it, but the thing about our unique proposition is we have the guides too. So it's about visiting places that you don't have any access, you don't know anyone, and you can still go there.
Yes, sadly and unfortunately, time is up, but I think we had a very engaging and enthusiastic Q&A session and also great presentation. Thank you very much. I'll look forward to having all sorts of collection on the app because I have so many places that I have in mind to travel. Anyways, let's move on to our next participant. The name of the participant is Kwon, and ladies and gentlemen, again, please welcome him with a big hand.
Hey guys, my name is Timur and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Qwen. With Qwen, you can automatically record, transcribe, and search across all your voice and video conversations. Qwen automatically creates tasks, shares meeting updates, and allows you to collaborate with your team members. You see, the problem is that we're shifting into a remote-first world. 100 million Americans are working from home for the very first time. They're finding it incredibly popular, it's really safe, and extremely productive. And 49% of Americans are learning new ways to do work from home. So the question that we need to ask is are we ever going to go back to physical locations, or is remote work here to stay? And I say remote work is here to stay. You see, the problem is that 72% of information is lost within 42 hours. The demand for online videos have increased by 5x just within the last few months, and 53% of daily conversations are now moving online. That's why we created Qwen. Qwen is an AI platform that automatically scans and transcribes audio, video, and voice conversations, making it easy to search what was said and share and recap meeting action items. We also allow seamless integration with popular web conferencing systems like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Slack, so you can link to specific moments to provide additional context. So it is clear that the current pandemic has increased the demand for online video, and it's skyrocketing. With so many businesses moving online, meetings are bound to have new challenges. That's why you need a flexible and nimble product like Qwen that is built for the ground up for remote work and online meetings compared to legacy products that are out there right now. So think of us as a second brain. Qwen's AI automatically enriches your conversations, turning names and dates into action items. We summarize everything that was said, and we allow seamless integrations with popular web conferencing tools. We transcribe and allow you to specifically export those points to Salesforce, HubSpot, Box, you name it, we will take care of it. So we're going after a $19 billion market that's expected to hit $50 billion at the end of 2027. And just the North American market is worth $7.6 billion. Asia is expected to skyrocket that within just a few years. That's why Korea is the perfect place to launch our product here. So we are a SaaS solution. We have 500 registered users, each paying $29. We have venture capital companies using our product. We have digital healthcare providers. We have government research agencies using our product as well. So we're already incorporated in Korea. We have signed 4 MOUs. We partner up with incredibly successful incubators and accelerators here in Korea that are distributing our product to over 300 startups and companies. And we're creating our own Korean partner network and currently onboarding 60 other partners to do exactly the same. We also signed up with the government program that covers 80% of the cost for contactless products. It's called K-Voucher. And there are a few competitors out there. Some do manual transcription, some do voice, but none of them do what Quen does because it's exactly built up for ground up to do voice and video conversations. So our distribution strategy is simple. We're going for organic SEO content, and we're also doing marketplace place ranking like Zoom and Slack integrations. We're going to be working on paid, so running ads on Facebook and Google while decreasing our CAC. And we're working with distributors and product sellers like AppSumo and the Innovation Lab that are going to sell our product exclusively in Korean enterprise clients. So again, my name is Timur. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Quen. I worked with over 200 companies with 500 startups, Alibaba, and HealthPrize. You see, with the current pandemic, it really forced us to move all our accelerators and incubators online. It became really hard for me to take notes and keep paying attention to the founders. My co-founder was facing a similar problem when he was working with his product teams at Microsoft and HelpShift. It was hard to keep track of what was said and keep meeting updates. So we're changing the way we do online remote communication, and I'd love to take your questions right now.
Great. What a useful solution that you invented. Thank you very much. So let's open the floor for questions. Please go ahead.
You mentioned some of the competition, and that was very fast. One thing is if you could summarize that a little bit more, but what I'm particularly looking at is what are the barriers to entry? I mean, this sounds very innovative and interesting, but
Right.
potentially could just be a commodity.
So obviously, it will go down to your distribution strategy when you're looking at competitors. None of them are exclusively integrating the way we are, right? So we integrate with all the popular web conferencing solutions, and we're also doing the export side. So let's say if you're a sales team, you can export all your sales conversations to Salesforce. If you are a customer service agent, you can export all the conversations you're having to your customer service CRM. So none of them are integrating the way we are. The way Quen is doing everything.
So your barrier will be a kind of platform and industry agnosticism.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But is that sustainable? I mean, someone else can have the same strategy.
Yeah, so someone can, but our product is really unique because currently we're seeing very unique cases that are coming in our solution. So we're having for example, the government of Canada has signed up to do all their legal transcription. We have government of Ireland taking care of all their meeting notes and research videos when they're doing all their research. And so there's a lot of different use cases we're seeing, and we launched 6 months ago. So we have seen a huge amount of traction.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So how accurate the transcription is?
Right. So we are at 95% accuracy when it comes to English. We also do Korean and other languages. We are at 85% accuracy.
Specifically, how the accuracy in Korean?
Sorry?
In Korean, what's the rate of accuracy rate?
We are at 85% in Korean.
85?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So 85% accuracy for Korean, 95% accuracy for English. And any
I had
other
another
questions?
question.
Yes, please.
So one of the, I would say, unmet needs in this whole video thing is participant engagement. So for example, I'm a professor at a university, and student attendance. So we do the attendance in the chat room. Some students email me back, oh, I wasn't registered, but you can go through the whole video and you can see me, you see my face, which I'm not gonna do, right? So what about, are you envisioning tracking attendance or participation and engagement for documentation or whatever reasons?
Right. So one thing that we do is we don't track engagement, but what we do track is like who signed up for the videos, right? So as soon as like, let's say you have 50 students, they all signed up, you can also upload your meeting notes, your PowerPoints at the same side, and it will automatically send you an email once you're done with the lecture. So you'll have your transcription already. So if you have like 10 classes in a week, and students can automatically search what was said in all of your classes. So imagine me as a student, I have to do like 5 classes a day. No way I'm gonna like pay attention like 100% in all of them.
Yeah,
it's
right.
gonna be really hard.
Yeah. But this is more a suggestion. Maybe you can include some modules that track or...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Certainly, the student's perspective, not going to class and keep getting notes that complete for them, like you mentioned, may be attractive, but
Yeah.
perspective is going to validate whether they're there or not. So I would like to second the suggestion of the other judge.
Absolutely.
Right.
So yeah, one of the suggestions to upload PowerPoints was actually sent from the Health International University. So that was their suggestion to add PowerPoints, and then we literally incorporated that. So I'll take these suggestions really seriously and add that as well.
Interesting. We'll see how that feedback or comment play out in your future product development. We have about 36 seconds. Yes, please go ahead.
So do you have any the plan to kind of put your translation function to your the program? Or?
Absolutely. So we are translating as well. So our service does translation. So Korean to English, we're supporting like up to 50 languages. So you can actually, whatever language that you are, we can transcribe that, translate that into any other.
Interesting.
One interesting thing I forgot to mention, we also recognize speakers. So if you have 2 or 3 speakers, you can automatically recognize speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3.
Interesting. Yeah, time is just up. Thank you for your excellent product idea and presentation.
Oh, thank you so much.
As well. Thank you very much. Can you all believe that we only have one company left today? The last company to go for presentation is Regulaxis. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big hand.
안녕하세요, 아십니까? So Regulaxis is a classic biotech company developing pharmaceutical drug products. So the big picture, like from discovery up to phase 1 clinical trial and phase 2, and out licensing at phase 2B stage or phase 3 to a bigger pharma company. We already patented 86,000 drug candidates so far, and our first lead compound, Regu3, is just simply creating an entire therapeutic class. The company was founded by Dr. Claude Carrelli here, who is a kind of Steve Jobs in designing new biological entities that do not exist in nature. Company has been incepted in 2013, but in fact, it is based on 22 years of research total, and we do not even have venture capitalists on board yet, because we are heavily funded by European public grants, exactly the same kind of support for innovation that you are getting here in Europe, in South Korea. Including last May 2020, where we won another Seal of Excellence. We were supposed to get $14.2 million US funding. Of course, that has been reallocated to the fight against COVID at that time, but we reapplied October 6th during the program again. So the peptide biotech drug is like treating osteoarthritis of the knee. So on the top right, you can see like X-rays of a basic human knee. And this is exactly our compound. So it's injected, a series of 3 injections inside the knee. And we are the only biotech worldwide having 3 proof of preclinical efficacy of regeneration of the cartilage, and of course, in human chondrocyte cells. We have a unique innovation sweet spot versus competition. The other ones are mainly like symptomatic treatments, pain, anti-inflammatories, with innovation indeed. And the most promising innovation in the last 10 years, or something you are well aware, is the cell therapy with, for example, colon tissue gene or Tygenix that failed to demonstrate price ratio benefit. Our patent here in Korea has been published in February 2019 and is giving a very comfortable position to our future Korean licenses by protection until 2042. Why did we decide to make such a focus about South Korea? For 3 reasons. The first one is the fastest aging country in the OECD. The second one, osteoarthritis market penetration is vastly dominated by domestic companies with local production, which is exactly what we intend to do and replicate what we did last year in the United States, manufacturing in Pennsylvania, and before engaging the discussion with US FDA. But the third reason is like a long motivation and a recognition about the unique expertise that clinical research organizations do have here in South Korea. In fact, it's a limited patient pool. So from 10 years ago, you started to like invest into the expertise of doing multi-countries clinical research. And this is exactly what we did. To be honest, this is not our first time in Korea at all. So in 2017, I was already meeting face-to-face Connect to shortlist 3 CROs that I visited in May 2019. And so as soon as we got out of the quarantine here, we began to incorporate the cooperation by stock, and we are transferring, as we speak, the Korean patent to inject an asset. Another clear recognition is our deal with DreamCIS, 37.5 months of cooperation, 8 billion Korean won to be injected in the Korean economy. As you can guess, we have a very clear action plan for next year, which is not that time-consuming or cash incentive, as you can see on this slide, and we can even have a platform, thanks to DreamCIS and TigerMed, integration of their standard operation procedures last June. Looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What an innovative way to cure or heal or help cure osteoporosis. Now let's open the room for questions from our judges. Who would like to go first?
Thank you very much. Can you go back to the slide that is the cost of treatment and the efficacy? I think that you went through that very quickly and I didn't understand.
The
last one.
The last one?
Not the very last slide, no. The 2x2 with the different modalities, the different drugs.
Oh yeah, the competitive landscape. Yeah, sure.
The competitive landscape, yes.
Sure.
And if you can show it on the screen.
It is on the screen.
I can't see. No, but on the Zoom thing somehow. The share screen. Share screen. I guess it's not possible. Okay. Anyway, can you explain that again?
Sure.
Where you are on that? Because when you first opened the discussion, you said, oh, we are reaching an unmet need in osteoarthritis, but it clearly is not unmet. There's many people there. So please position yourself.
There's many, you want to talk or, okay, go ahead. So there's many players in this arena because like this involves several, I would say, side effects or like inflammation of the knee, for example, on top of the degeneration of the cartilage. Or you have, like, for example, hyaluronic acid, where they are making bigger, thicker, cross-link hyaluronic acid, but it's just like putting some lubricant inside the joint. So none is like really disease-modifying, like regenerating the cartilage or maintaining the cartilage thickness. There's only a few companies that are active in that field. There's Merck Serono. There's Samumed, for example, that is in the US, in San Diego. That is like total capital raise $658 million US. But we are pitching at the same time that we are, when they are, at ORC annual convention of all the key opinion leaders worldwide. And so we know exactly that our compound has a significant better mechanism of action, and we do not induce osteophytes. Like the other growth factors, like they are also stimulating the proliferation of the bone cells and creating peaks. And we do not induce that.
Yeah, I wish we could see the slide because I just don't know where you're positioning yourself on that slide.
On the top.
Somewhere, okay.
Okay, so it seems like you're very confident. It is already well recognized by key opinion leaders in the industry. Let's move on to the next question. Anyone else?
well, I can continue like describing the mechanism of action, which we didn't have the time to introduce during the presentation itself. So we are stimulating the proliferation and the differentiation of chondrocyte cells at the surface of the bone. And those chondrocyte cells are simply responsible for creating the cartilage. So it's kind of getting regenerative medicine like inside your knee at the surface of the bone. Other growth factors, they do proliferation. What we do is proliferation and differentiation into chondrocytes. You want to see it? You cannot see the slide, unfortunately.
Yeah, they cannot see the slide.
But I can show to the people here, at least. If you want to talk a little bit, Raffaello?
You say everything.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm not a doctor, but I just have a question. So with this, your treatment, I guess, would that also work if someone has like arthritis in another location, like their ankles, let's say?
And that's a very good question, and I'll be very honest. It will work on knee, of course, but like ankle, shoulder, hip even. But the problem is like 84% of the market value of this innovation is the knee. Because like simply, this is where you have the biggest pain and the biggest impact on quality of life. You cannot get out of home, you cannot go to work. When you get arthritis of the shoulder, it's not as bad.
Thank you.
All right.
And we don't have the money to sponsor all those indications, but I'm pretty sure like our pharma licensee will investigate this.
30 seconds, maybe one more question.
I'll make a comment. So you mentioned about the advantages of the Korean market. I would add another one. The older people, the ajumas, ajuma is a term for the older women, they are exercising so much, walking, hiking. Even though it's aging, they want to remain active. And so these knee problems, while not life-threatening, definitely impact on quality of life.
And that's absolutely true. Like, I was surprised because I was coming to Japan last year.
Oh no, I wish I could lend my microphone, but that means I'm being unfair to other participants. Thank you very much. I'm sure you'll have another opportunity to talk to our judges and mentors.
Thank you.
Great job. Yes. Thank you very much. So this brings us to the end of today's Day 2 K-Startup Grand Challenge Demo Day, and I was able to learn why they made to these finalists. And you know that we're going to have more presentations and pitching coming up tomorrow. Thank you very much for staying until the end with us, and please join us again tomorrow morning as well. This was Claudia. It was my honor and pleasure to serve you today as your moderator. Have a great day.